Here we go again, guys.
Oh boy, hold on to your hats.
And welcome back once again, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Busy day for us, interesting weather-wise. You know, it was kind of crazy there for a while. Tornado watches, warnings, etc., etc. And now beautiful out, gorgeous. The sun is waking up.
Done it, done it, done it, done it, like that. It is.
Well, I was thinking more like, here comes the sun.
Oh, that's so
Do 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 do.
Here comes the sun, la la la.
Yeah, and she was thinking of Jaws, like boom, 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 boom.
Yes, I was. Sorry, guys.
Oh, let me just make sure we are taping. Yes, we are. Okay, good. We are good. Yeah, we were talking about all the M class. We were talking about that high baseline, how the sun's been just real active. And, you know, even when I was making the last video, I was thinking, maybe we should put it off an hour because we'll watch something big black out. And, yeah, we have a major X class, 1.3 solar flare erupts from active region 2975. Now, this active region that has been peppering us is going to be starting to turn away from the Earth. So chances are in the next couple days as we progress, anything that would come from it wouldn't necessarily be Earth-facing like what we've just had. So we're going to get like 3 big impacts. And the guides did come through just recently.
Right. Just like, I don't know, less than 30 minutes ago, coming through with definite upgrades. And there would be possible impacts on larger cities, the grids in the larger cities. So when they show me this information, they show me really tall buildings, big buildings, indicating, yes, heavy, dense cities. So that's what we're watching right now.
And so again, when you look at this, here's the X class that we're talking about, this peak right here. Before we were talking about the M class earlier today. But you could see, you know, right here you're at C-class flares. So you could see how busy it's been, you know, and touching the M-class, touching. And, you know, there again, and then boom. So is there more to come? Will we get maybe one more in before? You know, you could view these in different ways. You could view them as, oh boy, you know, we might have GPS disruption. Worst case scenario, you could have bigger quakes pop up, which we're going to cover. One's already popped up, as well as increased volcanic activity. And we might have, you know, problems with satellites. We might have communication issues. You know, maybe, as Cindy was saying, you'll see the grid go down in certain areas. And we'll, you know, cover all this again. But we're going to get upgrades. This is the good side of it, is, you know, the sun is a relay for God, source, whatever you want to call it, prime creator, to send us new data. And light is information. Light is going to also change and awaken our DNA that has been made dormant. So right now, they're still showing the biggest KP index expected to be a 7. You know, which will be a significant size geomagnetic storm. And I'm waiting to see if they're going to upgrade that at all. So they're expecting on the 31st here, you see a 7, then we should be at 6, 6, and then 5 and 5. Actually, we'll hit 5 on the end of the day on the 30th. And then roll back into 5 on April 1st and a 6, and then tailing off into 4s and 3s. Interesting times, to say the least. You know, it's just a interesting time to be alive as we see Lascaux here. We'll take a peek at Lascaux as we see the blasting off. And then when we go look at Enlil, and we're going to watch it, you're going to see a baboom. It's like a baboom. And again, the little dot in the middle is representing Earth. And the others are stereo A and stereo B. You know, Monkeyworks was showing all the satellites that are up in the sky, and it's insanity what's up in the sky. I mean, the skies are just filled. And that's all with stuff that's been put there by man. How about some other stuff that we don't really know about that was put up there, you know, not by Homo sapiens, because there are things As we see this 6.9 that I saw other sources were calling it a 7.0, 279 kilometers east-southeast of New Caledonia. And here's Fiji, just to give you reference. Of course, Australia. And we'll just zoom out of here so you can see we're talking the area north of the North Island of New Zealand. And this is an area that does get hit with big ones. Again, is this related to the activity? I think we'll see. I would not be surprised. I'd be surprised if we don't see anything bigger than this in the next 2-3 days.
Right. You know, I mean, because like we were saying, it's Earth is having a conversation with source energy. So there's gonna be some reactions, and it's just all very exciting to see and watch, and everything is evolving. So yes, it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look down here, if you guys caught the first one that we did earlier this morning, you see there was a double blast. The first blast is basically it's sent energy that is right around India and the Indian Ocean area, and then the next one was over Africa and starting to go out into the South Atlantic, and then this one is directly over both Americas. So interesting times, and it most definitely affects our consciousness. A lot of people, when we get all this activity, they'll feel comatose. There's a lot of people that will feel like, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm so incredibly exhausted. And it's fine. Just relax, because the guides have told us that you're getting upgrades. This is upgrading the DNA. This is awakening things that are dormant. It's actually a good thing. And you're going to need to just chill and absorb. Let it just be an easy day for you. Other people might become hyperactive. They might go the opposite route.
Right. And you really want to give yourself time to allow these energies to integrate. And what does that look like? Integration, sitting, being still, doing mantras. Just let those energies slowly permeate and blend with you.
And then on the 29th, we had cars washed away by flash floods, and this is in Cadiz, Spain. We've seen this in these areas before, but this, they say, was the worst flooding event to hit this particular town this century. As there's been numerous times we've seen cars just washed away. And over in the Azores, the Sao Jorge volcano update here, largest earthquake to date, continuing uplift. So there's been a swarm that we had talked about, 14,000 quakes. That's a pretty good sized swarm going on. Well, the largest single quake just struck on the 29th, registered as a 4.0. There is uplift underway that indicates magma intrusion. So we might have another big one going off over in the Azores, another beautiful area. This planet, if we had the right structure in place, it could be just a paradise. A paradise. I think, so many people just don't realize what a paradise Earth was in the past and can be and will be again once the system is no longer governing us.
Yeah, she will reclaim.
She is. Mama's going to wash away this system. Evacuations after more floods in New South Wales, Australia, up to 15 inches of rain in 24 hours. And the guides have said, roughly, you could say about 60% of what you see is natural and the rest is augmentation. So, it's almost like they take what's happening and then by playing a little harp, so to speak, they make it twice as bad. And we would have more time. We would have more warning for things if it wasn't for all the technology that's being used to always kind of hurt us towards particular goals. Germany and Austria are taking steps towards gas rationing. And, when we come out the other side of this, we know what they're doing. They want to get away from, of course, all the quote-unquote fossil fuels. And, I've done videos that have postured the question, if they are fossil fuels, then why is there a moon that's not our moon that has more oil reserves than Earth does? and I believe that was, I'm trying to remember if it was Jupiter or Saturn. I think it was Jupiter's, one of Jupiter's moons. But we did a video on that. I've talked about that twice, and I'm going to have to dig it up for you guys again, because that would be an emission of life, right? Elsewhere in our solar system. But what we've gotten is that, yeah, there's actually about 40 planets in our solar system, most of which aren't acknowledged, and many of which are not in our density at the moment, but they will be in our density as time goes on. And many people have talked about other planets that, at some point in time we shall see, including Nibiru. So, yeah, we know what's going on. This is all part of the big reset, and I think we might be getting to the point where at least maybe do you think a third or 25% of the population has heard about the Great Reset?
I think a solid third at this point, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that slow, steady awakening. Meanwhile, about 20% of people are running out of money before payday now, as inflation is running up. Yet, don't forget the billionaire class. This has been the best 2 years of most of their lives, as the separation just continues.
Yeah, I mean, none of this bothers them. They're okay.
Oh, they're doing great. They're just doing great. And speaking about people that are doing great, the CEO of BlackRock. Yeah, he said, put on your seatbelts because we're going to have scarcity inflation. Now, is it all fear, or is there real things around the corner or manifesting right now? Well, if we look at all the weather, we look at all the man-made things besides the geoengineering, the wars, the conflicts. Yeah, there definitely looks to be trouble on the horizon. I think most people can see that now.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
And it's true when you think of, most people have spent so much of their lives, this is talking about millennials, people born between 81 and 96, and relatively smooth times. 2008, there was a downturn there, but this will be the first time in a full generation that people might go to a store and not be able to get what they want, because we've had it pretty good on the whole. And, of course, the elites had it a little bit better. But overall, can you imagine, I think we take so much for granted. Like strawberries. You want strawberries? Go to the store, you get strawberries. Now, if you wanted strawberries in some areas, you might only be able to eat them in maybe a couple months of the year, because that's the only time you're going to get them. And if you ever wanted to have, say, papayas or mangoes, well, if you're in the northeast of the USA, if nobody's importing them in, you're never going to have them. So again, we've had things fairly good, and we're going to a place where people are just not going to be used to what they're going to encounter.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that's concerning, because we have, actually, the controllers have done so well at using our laziness to kind of against us, because we can just go to the store, get anything we need, and therefore we haven't spent the time needed to really prepare those gardens for shortages. But I see a lot of people are preparing now.
They sure are. Apple and Meta gave user data to hackers who used forged legal requests. They were posing as the officials, the authorities. They were posing as law enforcement officials, and so they just handed over data right away. Your data is always mined. Your data is sold. Your information is sold all the time. And we were talking about how, we've had experiences where we've just thought of things, and I just thought, man, it would be so cool to either have a very economic motorcycle again, or maybe a scooter, maybe a hybrid. And I didn't even speak it to Cindy. And then I opened up, I don't know if it was the Drudge Report or something else, and boom, what's there advertised? That's what's advertised. As if they read my mind, and I didn't even do a search yet. Interesting. Well, there is no privacy. And I gave up my Facebook years ago. I closed it down. I closed down my Instagram. I do have a Twitter for Evolutionary, just to, keep track of things, because, so much stuff breaks on Twitter before elsewhere. But we do have a Powler, and we do have other stuff too. I would have no problem giving it all up. If we weren't doing what we are doing with trying to get information out and wake up people, we wouldn't have any of these accounts. Not at all. We would get totally off of social media, 100%.
I would be so happy at home picking apples and feeding them to my ponies.
Yeah, and the goats.
Yes.
And taking care of the chickens and whatever else we ended up getting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would love it.
Yeah. So, that's the utopia we have in mind is one that's away from all the technology, because we understand the technology is all about entrapment, getting us comfortable and compliant.
Very much so.
Comfortable and compliant. Always think about that. So as always, guys, thank you so much for your support over on Patreon, also on Ko-Fi. We couldn't do it without you. Do check out Medicinal Foods. Make sure you're detoxing and boosting your immune system. Use coupon code EEA. It gets you a discount. It does support the channel. Be prepared. Keep putting out the positive vibes. Get some time out in the sun and soak in that beautiful prana.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.